Good day, my name is Chief Strongblood, St. Vincent and the Grenadines' favorite and most hated son. That is Chief Strongblood. On the week of May 18, 2022, students from the St. Joseph Convent in Kingston, the boys' grammar school and the girls' high school took to the streets in the vicinity of their schools to protest the high rate of violence against women in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. As a result, Orlando Brewster, the Minister of National Mobilization, which have responsibility for gender affairs and family, went to the protest that is being hosted by the girls' high school and the boys' grammar school, and he wanted to make a public statement. Because these two protests were impromptu and informal, there was no platform for him to speak to the students. As a result, he decided to speak to the press. And this is what he said. Take a listen.
Go ahead.
I want to talk to the entire nation of St. Vincent. Today we are here, as you can look around, to see two of our premier institutions in the country, the St. Vincent Boys Grammar School and the St. Vincent Girls High School. They have made a bold step today to say to our country that it is not okay for perpetrators of domestic violence against our women and girls to do so and not get any sort of penalty. Now, I would say this though, this thing is not only a governmental issue. It is not just a governmental issue. We need all hands on deck to tackle the issue of domestic violence against our women and girls. As I would say, there are a lot of unreported issues of domestic violence in our country. And the Ministry of National Mobilization, which has a responsibility for gender affairs and family affairs, we have if you do not get what you expect from the police, reach out to us at the ministry. Let us do our part as well. And we will bring all the stakeholders together to make sure that this issue of domestic violence against our women and girls, that it is solved here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Do you wonder if these people who have responsibility for the caring of Vincent understand the situation, understand what is happening, and understand their role as it relates to what is happening? The point that I want to address, let me paraphrase what he says. It is not okay for perpetrators of domestic violence against women and girls to go without being punished, and that is quite clear. It can never be okay for people who have imposed themselves on the weaker gender to just walk away scot-free. But Orlando Brucers have to realize that this situation where our women have been violated, abused, and murdered did not just come out of the blue. All of these things started with Ralph Gonsalves. Let me tell you something. When Ralph Gonsalves was accused of raping Michelle Andrews, and he used the instrument of government to walk away without being held accountable as every Vincentian should be held. This is where the whole breakdown in the societal norms came. Prior to that, you will have domestic violence where a man and a woman will have a fight. That man will kill that woman and kill himself. Not that this was a good thing, but it was better than what we have today. Because since Ralph escaped prosecution, we see that the perpetrators of violence against our women stop killing themselves, but they are there to continue their violence on other women. Orlando Brewster look the Vincentian community with a straight face and say he is concerned about violence against women, when he go and align himself with the man who set in motion the whole cycle that now have our community reeling with pain, where violence are perpetrated upon our women, and there is no hope of redress. It is just a continual cycle that he made. It's not just a governmental issue. We need all hands on deck. All they are doing is throwing out catchphrases. Until Michelle Andrews and the other victims of Ralph Gonsalves get some form of justice, this thing will only continue, and it is going to get worse and worse. He also claimed that there is a lot of unreported incidents of domestic violence in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and that is so true. But who started that also? Who started that? When Ralph Gonsalves raped Michelle Andrews and she came out and she make it public, and there were other women who came out, went to Nicole Sylvester, the lawyer who fought for the women's rights in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and told Nicole their stories about Ralph Gonsalves. The first thing he did, he came publicly and threatened to sue anyone who tried to implicate him in any sexual wrongdoings. So we see it all falls back to the feet of the Unity Labour Party and their leader. He spoke about any victim of domestic violence that are not satisfied with the result they get from the police. They must come to the Ministry of National Mobilization, which is responsible for women and gender affairs, and let them know so that they can mobilize the resources to ensure that justice is done. Let me ask Orlando Brewster a question. Should Michelle Andrews come to the Ministry of Mobilization to try and get redress from the rape that she reported against Ralph Gonsalves? Should Kate and the others come to the Ministry of National Mobilization to try to get redress for the rape that Ralph Gonsalves imposed upon them? Answer this question, or it is only if the perpetrator is a normal member of society. Orlando Brewster and all the others, they do not have the best interests of Vincent at heart. All they do is coming out here, a photo opportunity, because you cannot tell me that you are concerned about what is happening to our women, and you will go and align yourself with the chief culprit who have been responsible for raping our women in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You cannot tell me that you are concerned, and you as a member of the Unity Labour Party have never uttered a word or try to mobilize other party members to try and get Ralph to answer charges of rape and sexual assault, which is brought against him by many of our citizens. Until you do that, you are just tinkling brass blown by the wind, noisemaker. If you're really serious, you'll take meaningful actions and ensure that the citizens of St. Vincent and the Grenadines are taken care of. My name is Chief Strongblood, St. Vincent and the Grenadines' favorite and most hated son, the diaspora machismo.
But at some point, fellas, a message has to be sent to these people. Otherwise, we're going to have this conversation again. But at some point, fellas, a message has to be sent to these people. Otherwise, we're going to have this conversation again.
That men in St. Vincent are a danger to women.
No doubt about it.
In St. Vincent.
But you know this, and you know this sad tip of that, Luke. I agree.
And I'm not hearing the big ups in society.
They don't care
say anything. Gruesome murders have we had at the hands of men, of women and children
over the years.
And politicians are saying nothing.
But you could go and champion a cause for a blinking billboard. You could go and come and tell me about
some nonsense about a Bitcoin.
About Bitcoin and all them foolishness there. And it's right there in the palm of your hand to deal with it. And and not that you cannot deal with it, you can.
I'm not saying that.
Morning.
Morning. Yeah, I remember a female radio host tell the Minister of National Security she felt unsafe as a woman. And he all but practically tell her dismiss her concern.
Yeah.
He had an opportunity to address it publicly, and he basically dismissed her concern. Would I tell all you?
But where are you fed up?